Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Boston Micro Soldering channel, where we fix defective and broken electronics. It's been a little bit slow for Boston pickups lately, so been getting a couple things online from around the country lately. And today we have a PlayStation 4 purchased off of eBay. We've got good hopes for this just being an HDMI job. This was a console which was bought for $99.99 with the description, "Everything on this console works, but..." It's a very common phrase we hear. Everything on this console works, but if you move the HDMI cable, the audio intermittently goes in and out. Looks like this is a pretty common seller of refurbished, used electronics, and it's basically going to be two possibilities here. Either this is a professional repair shop that attempted to repair this device, failed, and it's going to be our problem to fix their handiwork. Or what we can hope is that this is more of a reseller, somebody who has bought this device, QC'd it to have a problem, and they just want to turn around and sell it without opening it up to deal with any of the problems themselves. The first good sign with this is the box. It's kind of a nice, solid cardboard box, very well taped, completely full of bubble wrap. The device itself is in pretty good condition. We've got a CUH 1115A. This is the second of the three first gen PS4s, the fat PS4s. 1001As, 1115As, there's really not any practical difference between them. I love working on these because it's essentially the same screw throughout the device. Very quick disassembly, very quick reassembly. So let's take a look at this thing. Alright. So first indication that we might be getting ourselves into trouble here is going to be these aftermarket warranty stickers. So it looks like this device has definitely been opened up by somebody before, somebody with a shop, somebody, potentially with the ability to have repaired this console, but for some reason they didn't. And all that we've basically got here is a holographic original across the device. And as far as the HDMI port, it does look a little bit bent. So we can hope that this is a first generation port that's just worn out on its own and nobody's taken a crack at replacing it yet. Sometimes with the ones that are a little bent, they'll be pushed in. This is still pretty flush. Look, see if we've got any water damage, cockroaches, anything nasty like that. A little dirty on the inside. Just a little. Looks like we've got an original HDSD hard drive, the original 500 gigs. Whoever put these holographic stickers on there definitely didn't open it up again, because these are breakaway stickers in themselves, just like the original. Screws are a wee bit stripped. Definitely been taken apart before. So before we go any further on this device, let's check and see if it turns on. Now this was reported that everything on this console works, but everything on this console works, but if you move the HDMI cable, the audio intermittently goes in and out. All right, let's find out for ourselves. So get a solid PlayStation logo. That's a good start. Now we don't actually have speakers built into this monitor over here, so after this is done I'll have to take this to maybe a TV and check it out for sure. But usually with these HDMI issues, if it's audio, it's going to have visual problems too. Do have a nice quiet device though. Alright, so boot it up fully. Unfortunately, we do not have a working DualShock 4 at the moment. I ordered a box of these over a week ago and managed to sell everything I had in the interim. So let's wiggle this around. Oh yeah. Yeah, port's very loose. Go anywhere from black to solid image to snow. So it definitely seems like this port is not very well soldered, or it's just wearing out internally. Alright, let's check out the disk drive while we're here. Rollers are okay. Not super speedy. Feel the drive spinning up. Okay. Eject is good. Buttons are good. Let's open her up and figure out what's going on with the HDMI. Let this power down fully before we pull the plug, just because it looks like we have a working operating system. There's no reason to corrupt the drive and have to go back and format it later. Okay, and our solid white light is off. We've definitely got some nasty dust inside. Wrinkled tape. Wrinkled power line for the disk drive board. Hopefully not cut. See what the inside of the power supply looks like in a second, if that's nasty as well. So this once, I'll say it again, what I love about the 1001s, well, CUH 1001s and the CUH 1115s is just how quickly you can get them apart. I mean, they're essentially the same silver screw throughout the entire device. A couple exceptions. Well, good news is it does not look like anything has lived inside this power supply before. It's just very dusty like everything else. We have to give this a good cleaning after we test it. Get all of our cables off the back of the board. Dusty. Probably want to clean up those buttons too. I'm a little off-sized. Labor Day. So we're going to cheer ourselves up by making something work. Boy, this thing has just gotten dirt everywhere. I'm missing thermal pads, that's good. Definitely a device that's seen water before though. There's oxidation all around the ground pads here, the ground plane. Now, the thermal paste definitely has been replaced before. Still pretty wet. Something aftermarket. At least they did use a decent amount of it. But we're going to replace it again with new. It's always best to be thorough with these. That's how you end up with machines that this console works, rather than this console works but. Move all of our old thermal pads over. You know, I'm almost wondering if this fan has been replaced before, but because it is one of the cleanest items in the entire console, and it's spinning perfectly. Not a bad thing. Plenty of dust bunnies living on the inside. And let's take a look at this board. First, our HDMI. Question is, has it been replaced before? Nope, this looks like a factory port. Definitely have the unleaded solder. Pins look a little factory mediocre. And they're also a little bit cracked. Cracked joints. So we take a look here at our second pin in, and maybe the first one as well. Definitely have a cracked solder joint. Yep, number 1, number 2, 3, just the first couple, but what we're going to do is go back and reflow all of them. Now, in nearly all cases, I end up replacing these ports with new ones, but looks like today we might be able to just retin those pads. Our port doesn't look too bad. Yeah, we're going to retin those pads, test it out, and see what we get. May not even need any hot air today. Okay. Copious amounts of flux as always. Get our filter on. Heat up our board to start, just to speed things up. The entire board up to about 100 degrees C. Just to make this process smoother. We're not going to get anywhere just trying to resolder the lead-free tin solder that's here. We really do need to mix in some leaded solder. If we don't lower the melting points, then we're never going to be able to get these all reflowed nicely. So the goal right now is just to mix in as much new material as possible. We can worry about bridges later. Come in with a little bit of wick to pull off the excess material. Start out with a tiny piece of braid. Just so we don't have the opportunity to pull too much material out too quickly. And we're going to make sure we've got plenty of flux in the area. Going to pull out a little bit of overflow, and then we'll spread the rest of this solder out between all the pins. Maybe enough for now. Pull off a little bit more material. Just a little bit. Lost Mr. Wick. You have to keep an eye on Mr. Wick. I'm just going to keep dragging these bridges from pads that have too much solder over to pads that have not quite enough. With a hot enough iron tip, you don't have to wick away the material from these bridges. You basically just pull it right over to where you want it. Clear off anything that gets a little too oxidized. I've gone over most of these pads already, we're just being thorough. Alright, let's clean it up and have a look. always good to get this flux cleaned as soon as possible with some very high strength alcohol. This is 99.9%. And that way it's not going to gum up. The last thing you really want to do at this point is waste a lot of your time with knife blades and tweezers, digging out clumps of burned, dried, cold flux. Okay, let's have a look. Alright, those look like some nice solid joints. No bridging. And only a little bit of flux left on the board. Be very gentle with these diodes while I clean them. They're so hard to get. Real quick while I find some thermal paste. I'm gonna heat this board back up just to make sure all of our alcohol's evaporated. Have another quick once over. See if there's any other grime we can clean off while we're inside. So dusty, so dirty. I'm using the mechanical toothbrush for speed, but still trying to be as gentle as possible with each of these areas that we clean up. Don't want to knock anything off the board. Clean up that oxidized power button. And what are you? Are you missing, or are you just nasty? Oh, just some nastiness. Now, this water damage was definitely a secondary concern to me. Clearly, the failure point here was just the mechanical damage to the port, so I'm not really expecting there to be any failures to the corrosion here, but we may as well clean up all the spots we see while we've got the machine apart. Now, if one of these components is going to crack and fail, we'd much rather have that happen now while it's in the shop, but before it goes out to the end user. Probe points here, but that's okay. We'll survive. Get this board back in and test. Our board's plenty dry. New pack of thermal paste, MX4. Like always, we're just going to do a healthy pea size. More than enough. We want it to spread, but we don't want it to overflow. Back into our main housing. I'm going to get this perfectly centered before we push it down, before we get our APU clamp in, that is. Still a little bit of dust bunny nastiness in here, but nothing we need to worry about. And our thermal paste should be set. I wish all these screws could be PlayStation screws. It's just so pretty. Definitely want to make sure there's not too much nastiness on this power button. At least on the outside key. Inside's been cleaned already. Get our power supply in and we're done. So I want to look at this eject button. Should be good. Get in our drive data, drive power, Wi-Fi, Now the first gen PS4s are all 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. No 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi in these. So 1 antenna. Main power supply. This cable's definitely been through hell from whoever tried to refurbish this device before, but we'll see if the drive is still working well when we get it back in, get it back together. If not, we have plenty of cables around to replace it with. Dust to build up indefinitely. Ooh, nasty. The eject is nice and clean as well. Fire her back up and see if our port repair was enough or if we're going to have to start over and go with a port replacement. Blue light. We have a PlayStation logo. Sony. And we're booted. Now our moment of truth. Oh yeah. No more flickering. And out. And in. Excellent. I think that should be nice and reliable for now. Check our disk insert again. It was a little slow before. Sounds all right. Spinning up. Alright, so we're going to call this one done for now. Should have some PS4 DualShock controllers coming in tomorrow. Then we'll be able to set this up, test everything out, and maybe I'll get an hour of Final Fantasy VII. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you learned something today.